Greetings, my fellow YouTubians and subscribers alike. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl D Green 2.0, and yes, it has been a while. We're not gonna sit here and ignore the elephant in the room. It's been almost 3 weeks since I uploaded a video, but a lot of life has been happening. You know, baby girl went back to school. She started middle school, so that's a doozy for all my parents of past middle schoolers or middle schoolers. You all know it's different than elementary school, so we had to wrap our head around that the first week and a half. She's off to a good start. And then I got a project at work that I had to work on, and we had to present our findings to the team today. So I spent a great deal of time working on that. And then I've been managing my properties and just taking care of some self-care things myself, because, you know, when I got a lot of stuff on my plate, you have to, and everybody's like this, you have to go through that list and then reprioritize. And unfortunately, even though YouTube is something I enjoy doing, I'm not monetized. So when things are just going amok, that's when you'll also see YouTube kind of just get put back to the wayside. Now, will that help my channel grow? Probably not, but I'll figure out a way to get there. You know, maybe this is how the speed should be going right now. So we just gonna leave it at that. All right, so I'm gonna say this overarching disclaimer, English, about Shamia after watching these two episodes, episode 16 and 17, the party and then the finale. Haven't finished the reunion episodes, but so far it still ain't looking good on Shamia's behalf. And I'm struggling with if Shamia is authentically being who she portrays on the screen. My spidey senses tell me no. And if also this is a good fit for her. I really don't feel like this is a good fit for you, Shamia. I really think you should exit stage left and just go about your life. You have a pretty good life away from this. I would not risk it trying to be a part of this show for God knows whatever reason. And if that reason was once upon a time Portia, that ship has sailed. So you've gotten what you needed. I would leave. As you get older, peace of mind is so much more important than anything else. You are all about being regulated and showing up in spaces where you know you are celebrated and appreciated. And this is not the space for you. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we'll see, right? We'll see. So we're not going to spend too much time because I'm going to do a double whammy for you all. So we're going to start out with the notes for episode 16. And then we're going to do a separate video for the finale, because even though I could have lumped them together, I want to give them the respect that they need, because I'm going to treat the reunion the same. And so we're not going to take any shortcuts, but we are going to rush through this so that way, you know, I mean, we're already behind. So let's get into it, okay? All right, so episode 16 is titled Halloween Hot Pocket. So it starts out with Shamia meeting with her lawyer about Rum Bum, and yes, the outfit she had on, I did not feel that it was appropriate to be meeting with a professional. Now hear me out. I started thinking a lot because I'm one of those people that gets in their head, and I'm a critical thinker, and I'm always analyzing things. And Shamia's body language in this, I could be totally off the mark, but it gave me the type of woman that is, and it's so crazy that Shamia's mother called Portia a Jezebel, but I was picking up Jezebel spirit from Shamia, a woman that manipulates and, you know, uses her sexual wiles to get what she wants. And something tells me, because there are women out here who exist like this, they know they're beautiful, married or not, and when it comes to working with men of any capacity, whether it be a partnership, a gym, anything, if you can manipulate a man to do something in your favor, even if you're married or not, you will do that. So that's what I was picking up on Shamia, because the way she acted in the lawyer's office earlier in the season, I kind of brushed that off. I didn't really spend too much time even discussing the scene. But I could not help but notice in this scene, the cat suit, the way she was talking to him, you know, flicking her tongue, that type of stuff. Not sure if it was nervous tick, but again, my feelings, my spirit told me otherwise. And while Angela has not given a name, what she said about Shamia as far as her sleeping around and all. I don't know. Jury's still out. Jury is still out. But that's what I'm saying. Her being on this show, at least for me, I know I'm not alone in this, but it's starting to bring out negative, like highlight her more in a negative way. Like she's getting negative attention. I'm looking at her more like, why do you want to stay here? Are you trying to intentionally become the villain? And then I struggle with even believing that, because she wants, if that's what she wants, she seems to be more comfortable being the victim. And Angela mentioned that in one of the episodes. Like, Shamia is good at being a professional victim. She could facilitate a situation where she always looks like she was wronged. Not like she made a bad choice and she had to suffer consequences. She always looks like she's wronged. So that's why I'm saying it's like, okay, Shamia, exit, because it's your third season is probably going to be your downfall. If you don't get off of this show, or something has to change, because it can't continue to go on the way that it is. But anyway, I got on that whole diatribe because I started, like I said, I noticed that when she was in there. Why are you showing up in a cat suit looking all sexy with your lawyer, trying to get discounted billable hours? Anyway, let's get to the next thing, right? So we had K. Michelle, Angela, and their husbands at couples yoga. So Kay mentions how she and Charles are both assholes who get along, and she respects Angela because she's the type of girl who brings it to the table. When she said that, I was sensing some Shamia fatigue. Am I alone in this? I was sensing some Shamia fatigue. The interactions were funny between the couples, mainly Angela and Charles, with the legs in the air comment and Angela's size 12. So I thought that was funny. And then they just started discussing the Scotland trip where they both stand with Shamia. We obviously know Angela's stance, but I was actually surprised to find that her and K. Michelle were disconnected because they seem to be so close throughout the season. That's another thing. It's like, okay, this friendship is now changing. Is it because K. Michelle changed, or Shamia's true colors were revealed? That's what I'm saying. I'm starting to look at you a little bit more, Shamia. I don't know. We're going to see. But Angela mentioned how Shamia is good at manufacturing drama that makes her look like the victim. And I said, I can't say I disagree with that. Then we have Portia and Pilar taking photos. The intention behind this photo shoot, which was so cute, by the way, is to replace the photos that Simon and Portia had in the home with photos of her and Pilar in the home. And I think that's a good idea. They were both wearing red. They look beautiful. Pilar's a very smart girl. She told Portia to push in her tummy. I said, oh my goodness. And then Portia said she's been making moves recently that are more aligned with her intentions for her future. And so I couldn't disagree with her on this when she said this, because this is true, but I don't think of it as a negative thing. Portia said that, historically she's been wifed, right? Like the wife, like she's checked that box. But each time she's been the wife, she's had to kind of compromise a little bit of herself and lose a little bit of herself. And that is so true. That is so true. I've been married twice. And the first time I was younger, that was more toxic. But the second time is when I actually learned how to be in a marriage. And both of us had to bend in order for that to work. That's why we were able to make it work and be opposites, because we did sacrifice and compromise a little bit. Is that healthy? Depends on your point of view. I'm one of those people that believe you should compromise when you get in relationships. But if that requires you to lose pieces of yourself that are positive, not a good thing. But if you lose pieces of yourself that are negative, and this is where I'm like, I agree with compromising. That's when you do make the changes about yourself, make those adjustments. So when Portia was saying that she's been different when she's been a wife, I can relate to that, because in her case, I don't think she was speaking about having to sacrifice the negative things. It was more of the positive things, like her wanting to be independent. I know that was an issue with Cordell. Can't really say much of the sacrifice she gave with Simon, because I really don't care about that marriage, but I was just like, I agree with her when she said that. And she's talking to Lauren, and Lauren asked her if her and Shamia have talks in Scotland. Portia's like, fuck no. Shamia reached out to her and basically invited her to the party. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you... Then I start looking at the lack of self-awareness and the entitlement or whatever it is. It's negative. Shamia, you basically blew up this woman's spot and insulted the hell out of her mother. You really think all was going to be well when y'all got back to the States without y'all having a conversation offline or separate? Like, at this point, I don't even think conversation is possible. I don't. But saying all of that, for you to just send out an invitation and expect for her to be, I don't know what you expected, to be honest, but it's like Cynthia said later, Portia's response was warranted. And so if we're self-aware and living in reality and not entitled to take everybody's space, we have to understand that sometimes when we do certain things, we lose access to the people. And so I was like shocked that Shamia even had the gumption to send out that message to Portia. All right, so anyway, so we have smaller intercut scenes. We have Pinky and her daughter, what's her name? D something. Diela, I think it's Diela. She's in the studio and Jazzy Faye was there, noticed that. Angela and Charles at a photo shoot for her fans. They look really pretty as a couple. And then you have Phaedra and Aiden. Aiden says he wants to smell edible. Phaedra looked like, what the hell? But then I could not help but say, see, that's your child. Because Phaedra used to always talk about tasting good and, you know, sexual innuendos. So then there you go. Your Gemini son, because Aiden is a Gemini and Phaedra is a Scorpio. Y'all know I like my zodiac stuff. Anyway. So we have Shamia and K. Michelle. They meet up for drinks. Kay is preparing for her album release party, her country album, and Shamia gives her props. They both give their point of view on the events that happened in Scotland. And this is where I appreciated Kay. And I really saw Shamia, you know, I'm seeing her differently already, but just the way she's handling and responding to the aftermath of all of that, it highlights more of her character. Yeah, Portia, you know, you could say she's being an asshole and, you know, ignoring her, whatever. But no, Portia's just playing smart. You cannot settle something like this on screen that went so low. Portia is not going to engage at all. So anyway, so from Kay's perspective, she's become more combative as a result of she and Portia falling out. This is Shamia. From Shamia's perspective, she's fighting for her life. Again, victim. Like she didn't contribute anything. So Kay points out all of the toxicity that Shamia has put out there and then asks her what happened to set her off. Shamia says that it started with Portia mentioning how Shamia's mother did something egregious to her mother last season. And then Kay says that Shamia cannot meet wrong with wrong. That is so true. That is so true. Shamia, she shows Kay that she's trying to bridge the gap between she and Portia, and she does so by sending out an invitation to her Rum Bum Halloween party. Portia basically went off and called her crazy, and Kay is like, that friendship is shot. Like, basically, you know, saying, without having to say, really, I mean, I get it. I probably would have said the same thing. Anyway, so Kay says that she's not going to attend the party due to her not celebrating Halloween. And I put in parentheses, people like this crack me up. What I mean by that is Halloween, in terms of how it's celebrated in America for the kids and all of that, with all the spooky stuff, it's for the kids. But the real meaning of Halloween is not evil. Yes, there are spirits involved. This is why I love Coco. Shout out to you, Coco. I think it's Dia de la Muerta or whatever. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but that's a way for you to honor the spirits of the past or the ancestors. And you celebrate them. You make them offerings. You appreciate them. So I don't see an issue with Halloween. But what I mean by people like that is Kay is a representative of that conservative faction of Black people that all they know is the box that they were raised in, right? And so they are always going to demonize things that they don't understand. And so that's where we are with it. Anyway, so we have Drew now. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I really don't. I like Drew, but I don't really like I don't spend a lot of time with her on this show. She has moments where, you know, I'm surprised that her comebacks are funny, but I think because the way she started, Drew started very weak for me on this show, so I never really got into her. And she started on the show season 13. That's when the whole Bolo thing went down. Her season wasn't solid. Then season 14 and 15, I was like MIA for most of them, so I didn't really get to connect with Drew. And then for 14 and 15, that's when Marlo and Stanya were a part of it, and Sheree. And then season 16, I didn't watch. So this season, it was hard for me to look at Drew and really embrace her as a housewife, even though she is a housewife, if that makes sense, because I don't have that bond with her. And again, her story has not been that strong. It's been scandalous. I hate to see what she's gone through with Ralph. I don't like Ralph. But, you know, at the same time, I don't live with them. And to be fair, yeah, Ralph looks like a demon on TV, but I don't know what Drew was like behind closed doors. She's done some things that make me question her sometimes. So she's one of those people where I'm just like, I don't know where to stand with her. I don't know how to know where to stand with her because I'm just not that vested. Anyway, so Drew and Pooch Hall, aka Derwin Ding Dong Davis. They were co-stars on that show, The Game. If you're of the culture, you know what it's about. And I'm going to shout out a YouTube channel that recently did a recap on season 1 and season 2. Earlier seasons, in my opinion, were the better ones. But for the nostalgia, so she just did a recap, and it was very good. If you're interested in watching it, just look her page up. And I mean, she breaks it down. So if you want to see and hear about The Game, if you've never watched it before, I recommend you watch her channel. But anyway, so they played Derwin and Drew. Drew played herself on the show. And in this particular scene, going back to what we're talking about, they are rehearsing for I think it was a play she said they were going to be a part of. And yeah, she said, oh no, I didn't write down the name of the play. Anyway, watching them in this scene, it was a nice little trip down memory lane. And she said that, you know, she's just been trying to keep busy with everything she's got going on. You know, she's just trying to stay in her bag. And, you know, she's showing that. It's good that she still has a relationship with Pooch Hall and that they're able to work on a project all this time. So after all this time. And she just talks about how she's trying to keep productive and positive throughout the divorce. I mean, that's all you can do. Portia buys her mother a home. I thought this was one of the best scenes. I was so proud of Portia. I was so proud of her. So not only did she sell the Duluth home, earned a profit in her equity, took the equity, paid cash for this new home, and she closed on the old home and this new home in the same day. And then I got real emotional when her mother was like, oh my God, you were the pending contract? So Portia did this for her mother while her mother was shopping for this house. Hey, she get on my nerves. She do sometimes the stuff she's done, but you know what? I can't even hate. I can't hate. That's some boss shit, Portia. So good thing for you. Even Dennis had to give her big ups because he respects that. That's the type of shit, you know, boss people do. Men do, you know, men can respect that. So she was just saying how, you know, when it comes down to Diane and Pilar, those are the two people in her life. That's her heart. So you cannot, you know, she didn't already. And I just said that was such a flex. Sorry, I'm breezing through these notes. I'm almost done. So thank God. And I'm just hitting the 19-minute, almost 20-minute mark. Now, the last scene, Shamia's party. So this scene is also intercutting with Portia and Kay being out on a double date with their men, well, with Mike and Dr. Caston, because, you know, Portia's not going to go and Kay says she wasn't going to go. But it's mainly focused on Shamia's party. So Cynthia arrives as Elmer's glue. Pinky and her husband are zombies. Pinky says she chose death because that's been the energy of the friend group. Very clever. I noticed Derek looking a little too intentionally at Shamia. And then I thought, but then given, you know, Pinky admitting she's been in a relationship with a woman, I know I'm jumping ahead. Given, I don't know, I'm starting to sense that maybe they might have a third or be open in their relationship because, as you know, I wanted to claim that they had that pure black love, but no, the way I was looking at it, I was like, they get down. They get down. But hey, it's their marriage. I feel like that shit you should do before you get married, but who am I? You know, who am I to tell people how to honor that contract and that covenant? No one. Do what makes you happy. It just won't work for me. Because once you make that into a covenant and it's like legit, you ain't playing around anymore. So you don't play in the relationship. That's just me. I know I got on the side note. Anyway, so they go to the scene with Mike and Portia, K. Michelle, and Dr. Caston. And Kay is curious about where Mike and Portia stand. Mike states that he's in love and he starts asking Portia where they are headed. Portia says in confessional she's met her match in him because he also moves fast. Kay asks her directly how she feels about Mike, and Portia tells her she's not quite where Mike is. Now, I'll give Portia this. She mentioned that Mike had never said that to her off camera. So the fact that he actually did it on camera and in the manner that he did it, I wouldn't feel confident either. Are you performing or are you trying to, you know, what you trying to do? And so, yeah. Yeah, I thought Mike could have been it possibly, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, back to the party. So we have Shamia. She says she's launching 3 flavors: peach, tropical punch, and Kahlúa's Bailey. I was wondering, I was like, how's she gonna do a Kahlúa's Bailey's or whatever it is when they both are licensed? They're separate licensed liqueur flavors. So unless she has some sort of contract with them where, you know, it would work out. I was like, how you gonna name one of your flavors Kahlúa's Bailey's? I don't know. I start thinking too much about like trademark and shit. Anyway, so Phaedra arrives in drag as the Godfather. Cynthia says that it's like a mix-up of Don Corleone and James Brown. Phaedra was an interesting looking man. Kelly and Jarvis arrive as Kelly as Wonder Woman, and then Jarvis is a biker, I'm assuming, because he just had a helmet on. He didn't have anything special on. Nothing Marvel related or DC. I didn't see anything. And then Ashley and George, who are Shamia's neighbors and the subject of the stuff that happened in Scotland between Angela and Shamia, they arrive. Ashley is dressed as Tinkerbell and George is dressed as the Riddler. Very fitting considering all the drama you've caused, sir. Drew arrives as Cowboy Carter, and then she has a surprise visit later that arrives as Jay-Z dressed in the suit he had on. I think it was Magna Carta when he had on the white scarf. Correct me if I'm wrong. I like Jay-Z, but I'm not an avid fan, so I could be wrong about which title album he had the outfit on, but y'all know what I mean. Anyway, so we have Caston and Kay actually show up. They arrive to the party, and Caston is so funny in how he's announcing Kay's entrance. He's like, you know, she was against this, like getting all holy, like, you know, even in spite of the spirit, and then she pops up and they're all surprised to see her. They welcome her. Kay said that she's gonna support rich people devil shit. And she's also going to support Shamia trying to provide for a house that's already paid for. Said, my God, y'all too woo. We getting the memo that they fell out, huh? So Shamia gathers the girls at the party, and she tells them that she's sorry for everything that went down in Scotland. I mean, at this point, girl, they don't care about your apologies. They really don't. Drew says the apologies don't land and that she needs to apologize to Portia, which as much as Drew may not do it for me, I can't disagree with that. You offended us, being shocked and us being offended. That's just the byproduct. But you directly offended Portia, so that's when you should be apologizing directly to. So Shamia is trying to, pussyfoot and be passive and go around it and circumvent what she really should be doing. You see what I'm saying? I'm starting to notice, she has a lot of childish-like behaviors, even more so than Portia. Portia's actually grown in comparison to Shamia. Now, we'll see as time goes on if more things will be revealed, but, it ain't looking too good, Shamia. You let the editors or whatever just... It is what it is, girl. It is what it is, So... The ladies pull Shamia aside and ask her if she's reached out to Portia. They basically tell her that Portia's reaction after Scotland was warranted. Cynthia said this. And then Kelly mentions how Angela basically sunk just as low as Shamia, yet no one is pushing Angela to apologize. I don't see that. You're right. Angela is hitting low, and Angela can be super aggressive and combative, and you do see the divide. It's as if Angela's tactics are being protected because they serve a purpose. So I do notice, even though I'm noticing some things about Shamia, I'm noticing, how it's an imbalance, and it seems to be that Portia is protected. This is her show, and everybody's going to move the way they need to move so that she looks good and it looks, favorable in the view of the audience. Y'all got what I was saying. I'm tired, and it's been a long day, so we just gonna thug it out, but y'all following me. So with that, this is one of the things that has actually, this is a side note, but relative, but this has actually caused me to actually gain a little respect for Kelly. Because the one thing I will say about Kelly, she does not back down. She does not back down. She says it how she feels. She's not scared of you if you are tenured or not. And she's not gonna walk around the issue and not say it directly. So we've seen that a couple of times this season. She's even calling out how it's unfair. And she's essentially on an island on her own because she is writing for Shamia so hard while the cast is, obviously turning against her. So shout out and kudos to you, Kelly. I do like you. You got chutzpah. I'll give it to you, girl. So Ashley is there. And she says that Angela reached out to Ashley to ask her for tea on Shamia. Now, semantics. Angela comes in. Hears her name. Immediately starts defending herself. But the way she's defending herself, it's more of a word salad than it is an explanation. I can't even tell you verbatim what she said, but at the end of it, Drew made the comment that Angela was vindicated. No, the fuck she was not. Angela is just very crafty. And Angela, I look at you a lot different too, because what I've noticed about you over the last month or last few episodes I've watched is that you stay on ready this season. And I thought it was as you've been here, done that, and you're protecting yourself and you're moving like this to protect yourself and be strong on the show. But now I'm starting to see it may have a little bit of that, but it's more or less like you being a guard dog for Portia. For the popular group. So they all have roles. And it's so funny. This new little group over at Atlanta, this is Atlanta's version of the Fox Force 5, which composed of, this is from Beverly Hills, Dorit Kemsley, Kyle Richards, Teddy Mellencamp, Erica Jane, and Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna left it. Dorit started to break off when she did her own thing. Teddy left. So now we only have Kyle and Erica left, and they show each other mutual respect. And if you watched the show, you saw how the five of them would come together and do some crazy stuff, control the energy of the show from seasons 9 till, I want to say 12 or 13, because 12 was when Rinna left. But they wreaked havoc. and they dominated that show, and they brought a very dark energy to the show. So fast forward 4 years later, because they disbanded in 2022 when Lisa left. Now we're in 2026. We're in Atlanta, and you see it. Same thing. Only this time you have Portia, Phaedra, Drew, Angela, and hold on, Cynthia. Cynthia is kind of a extra, you know. But yeah, Fox Force 5 energy. Very, you know, makes no sense. You know, the purpose is to move the show forward in the favor of the HBIC, which I'm not sure if it's going to be Portia or Kay next season, because now I see Kay's strategy for what it was coming into this show. But going back to what I was saying as far as like the Fox Force 5 and the energy and the roles, Angela in this particular group of Fox Force 5, she's the guard dog. She's the one that's like, rah, 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 go after everybody. And so she will do that even if she has to throw out lies or manipulate the truth. You see what I'm saying? Because she's smart. So she heard something, because George did admit that he joked at his event how fine Shamia was. Joke. Angela then took that, ran with it, and spun it. And then she had the nerve to tell Ashley, which I could see this, but at the same time, it's like, how dare you? Don't try to deflect and use this as your defense tactic. She said, well, whatever I said about George, it preceded your relationship with him. His reputation precedes you. And I'm just like, see, this is Angela getting clever again. She's spinning it back in her favor, because even though she was wrong in what she did, she ain't wrong in what she's saying too. Yeah, your husband does have a fucking past. He's older than you. So anyway, I just look at Angela a lot different. You know, I was bigging her up. I liked her earlier in the season. And then once I started seeing she's not really a woman that moves for herself, because remember I said grown girl, grown woman. Sentiments lie where they lie today. So anyway, so after Angela's trying to word salad her way out of this, because George mentioned her, or Ashley mentioned her, back and forth commences between Angela, Shamia, Kelly, and Ashley. Angela says that whatever her husband has done, yeah, okay, I already said that. George, who is the husband, the man of the hour, then appears to clear Shamia or Angela, or his name, I'm not sure why. Angela asks him and brings up what he said. He remembers it faintly. It takes him a little while, but then he remembers it, but it was said in jest. And even his wife was like, yeah, but he wasn't saying it the way you were trying to say it. And so they end the scene with, oh, no. So I just got tired of that word salad and that whole, I was just like, I see it for what it is. No, Angela, you were not vindicated. You look like pathetic. But anyway. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this is what I said. I said, Angela brings up what he said. He remembers saying something to the effect of what she shared, but it wasn't exact, which basically told me that Angela has found a weak point in his communication style and thus manipulated what he said to make it sound more tantalizing. That's pretty much what that's what my notes say verbatim. I just read them. So, yeah, I was just like, Angela, girl, whatever. Kay echoes my sentiment in her confessional. She says Angela was not vindicated, and anyone who thinks this is delusional. That's what I'm saying. Kay has been like she's been moving in truth. Like, yeah, we may not understand a lot of the shit that she's doing, but she's moving, being true to herself more so than I would say Angela is, and even Shamia. So, anyway, Kelly starts roasting Angela's kitten heels. They toast with rum bum, and then they begin looking at the bum molds and guessing who is who. Of course, they traded insults because the molds didn't look good for any of them. They end the scene with Terry now. Terry is this guy that is pursuing Drew. He was also a guy that popped up in some photos with Nene Leakes shortly after Greg passed away. He was a young dude. And Terry arrived dressed as Jay-Z, like I said, but he also arrived with a surprise horse. And for the life of me, I don't care. Drew could not convince me that she did not know about this surprise. She can't. I don't know. Like I said, Drew just doesn't do it for me. I'm not bonded with her enough. Kay doesn't believe it was a surprise. And then they ask, what is she gonna do with the damn horse? And then Drew trying to oversell it. Oh my god, I'm so surprised. And that's the end of the episode. So decent episode, you know, more filler, but like I said, the season's good, so there's some quality there. This was able to carry the story along. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then I'm gonna come back and do the finale, so that way I can be caught up, and then I'll do the reunions sometime this week. That way we'll be final next week. So again, thank you so much for being patient with me, rocking with me, being loyal to me, waiting on me to come through. Like I said, I'm gonna finish the season for y'all. I'm not gonna do y'all like I did Potomac and Beverly Hills. So I appreciate the patience. And on that note, I appreciate you so much. Peace and blessings to you. And I'll see you in a little bit. All right. Bye, y'all.